Hello class, welcome to week 1 lecture of Process Modeling and Analysis. My name is Dr. Hongyu Xiao and I will be your instructor for the month. By now you probably have visited the system already, and at the top of the activity list, this is what you will see. We will go over each item briefly. You're probably very familiar with the system already. The top items would be syllabus and course at a glance, professionalism, which adheres to the Full Sail University GPS system. There is a mastery journal and glossary update, which is open the entire month. You have the whole month to make journal entries and glossary updates, but it is technically due at the end of the week 4. There's a reference session for any addendum documents that comes with the course, so feel free to browse it and download anything you need. There's a community discussion board open for the entire month. It is not graded, but it is a platform where you can discuss with your peers, post any opinions you have, and whatever you feel you like to discuss about the course. As you already know, some of the activities are graded and some are not. So if you were to click on syllabus and course at a glance, which is the first item, you would see the course syllabus for the course. You're probably very familiar with the layout. There are more than one page. This is only page 1 that is shown here. Please download the syllabus and read it carefully, and it will give you a good idea of what the course is about. This is course at a glance. There are 4 discussions due for the month, 1 each week, and 4 projects due, and again 1 for each week. Discussions are due Wednesday nights and Sunday nights. Other than that, in week 1, you will have your pre-course knowledge survey, and in week 4, you'll have your post-course knowledge survey. In week 4, you will also have the mastery and glossary updates and course evaluation. Grades. Each discussion is 10% each for a total of 40%. 4 projects, again 10% each for a total of 40%. So if you have 2 posts and 1 discussion is worth 10%, so technically each post will weigh 5% of the grade. Professionalism is 10%. This is where we require you to be courteous to your peers, behave in an academic etiquette. The items are not graded, you are still going to observe the deadline and do a very good job at them. Anything that is not graded and we have no place to take points off, then we go to professionalism and take points off there. Master Journal Glossary Update is worth 5% of your grade, and your post-course knowledge survey is worth 5% of your grade. So that totals to 100%. So we're going to talk about week 1 activities. You have 6 activities. Only 2 of them are graded, 1.5 discussion and 1.6 project. And we are going to talk about all these items. Each week you will have a lecture just like this, and we will go over the activities for the month, and we will concentrate mostly on the discussions and projects. The layout is symmetrical every month and every week in my courses. So you have a pattern to follow. The content may be slightly different, the directions may be slightly different, but the layouts are the same. So if you were to look at that, you are at 1.1. In order to be listening to this at the instructor's lecture, you will have 4 lectures. You can listen to them at your leisure. You can listen to them repeatedly. If you have additional questions regarding to your assignment specifically to you, please feel free to contact me. The best way to contact me is through FSO email and formulate your questions. If you need to, we can set up a one-to-one go-to-training meeting to discuss specifically your project or your discussions or any questions that you may have. So feel free to reach out to me. So if you look at that, we're going to look at your pre-course knowledge survey. It's pretty standard issue. You would click on that, and this is what you would see. And there's a link there. You click on that link, and that will carry you to this. You filled it out. 10 questions. Do the best that you can. It's not graded, and you would have a scale from 1 to 5. 5 being most confident, and you would tell us how you feel about the question, how confident you feel about the question. When you are done, all the way at the bottom, you save, or all the way at the top, depending on your system, make sure you capture a completion screen, and you will submit that in FSO. The textbook for the course is called Real World Application in Modeling and Simulation. It's a research-oriented textbook. At the end of the chapters, you would see some research papers, and feel free to look them up and plow through them. Based on the textbook reading, we have 4 weeks. And week 1, this week, you are to read chapter 1. You are also to read part of chapter 8, specifically chapter 8.3. If you were to click on 1.2 textbook reading assignments, there are more details in it that tells you about the sections that you need to read. But in a nutshell, as an overview, in week 1, you will be looking at research and analysis for real world. In week 2, we concentrate in business process modeling. In week 3, we look at business operation research. And in week 4, we look at the human factors in modeling. So in week 1, for this week, please read chapter 1 and section 8.3. You are welcome to read the entire book. It's a very small book. It's very interesting to read. It's not very technical, but these are what you will need to read to finish the project. The discussions in the projects in this particular course echoes the textbook very well. So most of the answers, you could probably just get it from the textbook. So do read the textbook. It's worth the effort. 1.3, we're going down the list just in case you haven't noticed. We cover 1.0 pre-course knowledge survey. We covered 1.1, which is what you're in right now. We cover what you need to read for this month, and we're just going down the list, and every week we will go down the list. And we'll dedicate most of our time in 1.5, 1.6 to discussions and the projects. So hopping back, the slides, they're very short. It should take you very little time. Just to give you an idea of what other modeling out there. It's not a very popular subjects. Most people don't know much about process analysis. I pretty much think it's a very straightforward course. It's a very straightforward discipline, and most of your expression comes in the form of charts, tables, and process flow diagrams, which are basically visual diagrams. So you probably want to hone your skills on diagram software. You can do diagram software in Visio, which you should be proficient in. Microsoft has it, Excel has it, and there are myriads of other tools which you can do diagrams. So a lot of diagrams, a lot of tables, a lot of analysis. You pack it all up, put in your explanation, and you create a business model. Very straightforward. If you go to activity 1.4, you'll see some videos. Again, these are some of the concepts. Modeling and Simulation 101 I like. It actually went out of this particular domain because we're in the business intelligence, so we concentrated only on business modeling. But I want you to know that there are many other modeling. I specifically was in mathematical process modeling for many years as a metrology engineer. So this is one of my favorite subjects. Business process modeling is pretty straightforward, and it's relatively easy. The analysis is mostly in business world. In business, mostly accounting. Financial statement, spreadsheet, cost analysis, pricing analysis, that type of goodies. What are the challenges of process modeling and analysis? Well, the mechanics isn't very difficult. Basically you draw flow charts to get your points across. You run spreadsheets, and if you're very good with Tableau or MicroStrategy or even Excel, you run some scenarios on the data and you create some tables. Your business intelligence analytical course would definitely help with the analysis part of this course. But the challenge in business process is to know what to model. That's where people sort of fall off the wayside. They don't know how to improve a business model. So in your projects, what you want to keep in mind is you want to pick a company that you're comfortable with, or an industry that you're comfortable with. You do not have to deal with the entire operation of the business. You only have to deal with one specific area, and that area tends to be your forte. So for instance, if you're in entertainment, you probably want to look at the part that caters to specific part of entertainment. It could be as detailed as, how do you make a certain production. If you are IT, you may want to look at the IT operation of a business and create models for that. If you are very good with accounting, you may want to look at human resource. If you're good in marketing, you probably want to, drill down to a specific part of the marketing that you feel you can make a contribution. And what you want to do is look at the current model, tell me it's no good, tell me what the pitfalls are, and then suggest a new model. You have the old model all graphed out, and you have your better and enhanced new model. You give us a comparison, we are convinced, and there you go. So do not pick something you are not familiar with, because that would be very difficult to model. So the videos and the presentation would try to set aside from the textbook, which is very technical, and look at what's out there. Look at the questions that people raise. Look at the challenges of asking the right questions. Look at what type of analysis are being done there. So it should give you a colossal idea of what you should be preparing your projects for. So this is the list. Likewise, I want to mention about the dates. depending on your sessions, the dates may be different because the screen is different on mine and yours. So there may be some variations between what I'm showing you and what you're actually being seen, but the overall layout is the same. So I want you to get an idea of what to expect when you click on these options. If you're interested in any of these, you would just click on the link to view it. I give you the title and I give you the publisher and some of the keywords. So if for whatever reason you cannot load this in FSO, you can always type them in Google, and that will carry you directly to the YouTube videos or Linda videos, whichever ones they are. Okay, so that pretty much covers the logistic of it. As we see here, the slides, the video, the textbook reading. In the subsequent lectures, I'm going to go through them really quickly just to give you a view and spend most of our times in the discussions and the projects. So, assuming that you've done your due diligence, you've read your assignments, they're very short, so please do not procrastinate. Read them as quickly as you can and think about them. You looked at the slides, they're very short. You look at the videos, they're also very short. And then you come to your discussion, which is due post one on Wednesday nights, typical drill. First one, you want to read the textbook. The answers are in the textbook. You don't have to Google it. You could Google it if you want. You could do research if you want. But the answers are in the textbook. Read the chapters. Browse the textbook. Go out, do some research on your own, and you answer these questions in the context of your working company. What is your working company? Any industries, because you want to be able to talk about something. Ideally speaking, it could be your capstone company, but it doesn't have to be. What I don't want is you go into the textbook, cut and paste the answers to me. I also do not want you to paraphrase it and then cut and paste. This is a discussion, so I want you to read it, research it, digest it, and then apply it to your working company and discuss it with your peers and say, based on my newfound knowledge, the company that I'm working for, ideally your capstone, but then it doesn't have to be. You can change your company every month, every week. It's just a role play. Okay, I want you to apply it to a real world problem. So things that you want to say is you don't want to go to, so for discussion one, question one, post one, explain the differences between the different types of simulation, the different types of systems, and fidelity and validity. Okay, so these answers are defined in the textbook. It's a research-oriented textbook, so at the end of the chapter, there are research papers you could read. If you can find them. I don't know how much time you plan on spending in research, but suffice to say that you read the textbook and you have the answers. I don't want you to cut and paste and give me the answers. I also don't want you to paraphrase, like I said. I want you to say, well, I'm working on this company and I'm thinking about using a complex system. It's a standalone operation, or I'm integrating it with other departments. Which departments? What are my odds and fidelity? What are my procedures and validity? I want you to show an understanding. I want you to discuss it with your peers as if you were in a technical meeting. You're on a project. They're on their projects. You may all be working on one project. You get together and you want to give them a field report of what you have been doing and see what their feedback is. So that goes to 2. In 2, second post, there are 2 folds to it. You will want to research again. Research. The answer is not in textbook on post 2. You research it, see what's out there, and you decide how you're going to discuss A/B testing. Again, you want to apply it to your working company. Now, so far, you would see the posting from your peers and how they want to design their company. And you want to give them feedback. You want to give them very constructive and technical feedbacks. Not, I like it, I love it, it's a great idea, I think this is great, I think number 2 is good, I think this is gonna work. That's not gonna get you very good grades. What you want to do is act like you are interested in the project, you're at a team, and give them suggestions. And that may require you to pick one from your peers. You're more than welcome to do more than one, but you have to do at least one. Look into their programs, look into their design, read their postings, research on it, and maybe you could find something that they neglect to see. So make a recommendation. If you click on 1.15 discussions, this is just the meat of it. There are a lot more logistics to it. On gradings, post 1 is 50%, post 2 is 50%. So that boils down to A/B testing research will cost you 25% of the grade, and your post to your peers would be 25%. So if you just say, I love it, I love part 2, you're not going to get much grades on 25%, so that makes it 75. 75 is a C. You wouldn't like that. So be very detailed. The more the better. If you type me 5 sentences, it's not going to be very good. Okay, so read the details on the listings. And by the way, by now you should know you should use the RISE model. Okay, the key word is to elevate. Okay, find something that your peer has not thought about. Okay, I'm sure they spend time. We don't want to echo wonderful. Well, I don't like it. I like it. This is great. This is a wonderful idea. I think it's gonna work. Find something to elevate their platform, something that they have not thought about, something to show that you have done more than typing in I love it, which takes you 2 seconds. Okay, show me some effort. Then that goes to our project. For this month, you will be building a design document. It's going to be a minimum of 20 pages by the time you're done. You are developing different sections of it every week, so technically speaking, 5 pages per week. Okay, that will carry you to the minimum of 20 pages. It's not a whole lot, considering most of them will be graphs. Okay, I want it to be in a formal documentation format. It has to be a technical report. It has to be a newsprint, news articles, white paper, financial statements, business plan, technical report. You can find a myriad of templates out there on how the layout should be. But in week 1, you will write me 3 sections, and you will continue to build upon them in week 2, week 3, and week 4, and then the final stages in week 4, you put it all together. So keep that in mind. Minimal 2 pages on introduction, and you have to pick a working company. Again, it should be your capstone by now. If it's not, fine, just pick anything that interests you. You could you do have to, with your discussions, you don't have to stay with the same working company because they echo the textbook, they're free research, but you're probably doing yourself a disservice. I would recommend that you stay with the same working company, most ideally your capstone, because you're hitting many birds with one stone. So, with your projects, for the entire month, you have to stay with the same working company. Even if this project's working company is different than your capstone working and your weekly discussion. Okay, so if you want to make it very difficult for yourself, every week in the discussions, you pick a new industry and you discuss it. okay, and your peers will echo it. And then your projects, you continue to work on a selected, consistent working company. And then you take all of this and you work on your capstone, which is a whole different ballgame. Surprisingly enough, a lot of students actually opted that route. I don't know why. I think it would be easier to keep them all the same, but the discretion is yours. Just keep in mind that since we're developing one colossal project for the month, 1 week is not enough to develop a design document, so we need the whole month to do it. Your project has to stay with the same format and the same company. So if you decided to do a business plan proposal, okay, stay with it the whole project. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Okay, you cannot change from a business plan to a technical report next month. Okay, that doesn't fly. So in week 1, hopefully you're watching this on Monday. Think about your strategy for the month. Okay, don't get stuck in week 2 and week 3 and find out you don't have much to say. No, that's not a very good idea. Data collection. There's not much data collection in this in this course because it's it's to design a document. A design is futuristic. It hasn't been implemented, so feel free to use fictitious data. But if you have your capstone data already in progress, you probably want to use that because then you hit 2 birds with 1 stone. So having said that, you write an introduction, you introduce the current process flow of your business model. Okay, students make mistakes. Students will pick a company and they start talking about, and 2 pages is very short. Okay, they start talking about everything about that company. Well, we don't want to know everything about that company. This is not a marketing analysis. This is not an advertisement brochure. Okay, we want the introduction to introduce what you are going to design for the month. So let's say if you are very good in accounting, or you want to improve on their human resource, or you want to do a specific media campaign, and you want to create a business plan for that, you want to present your model, we want an introduction to that. Okay, so let's say if you decided that you want to improve the certain operation of Home Depot, your introduction shouldn't be Home Depot is a great company, it does how much sales, it is, it's a market, it's a retail. We all know that. We don't care about that. Not in this course. We want you to start by introducing the company and what you're gonna do. Go straight to it, maybe a line or 2 about the company if it's very well known, and go straight at it and say, well, I am looking at improving the operation for department XYZ, for operation ABC, and so on and so forth. Go straight to the meat on your introduction. So the introduction is the introduction to your business model. It is not an introduction to the marketing analysis of the company that you have picked. Now, I want to mention that in the off chance that you choose a very obscure or technical field, that happens sometimes, then you probably want to go beyond the 2 pages and give us a little bit background information on what you plan to do. Okay, so if you pick most industries from stocks to retail to POS to engineering, well, most of us know that. But occasionally I would have things like Greenpeace humanity efforts in Niagara. I have no idea what the person plans to do. So if you happen to choose a very obscure subject, then perhaps you should give us a little bit of intro. But if it's common knowledge, please don't waste 2 pages on things people already know. So use your discretion on what you want to introduce, but the meat should be what you plan to produce for the whole month. Okay, give us a snapshot of what you plan to do. That's what introduction is about. So based on that, I'm hoping and I'm asking for at least 2 significant pictures, meaningful pictures representing the specifics of your business product. Okay, so if you're trying to do IT, show me IT. If you're trying to do human resource, show me human resources. If you're trying to do production, show me what it is. Okay, because we don't know what you're trying to do. Okay, show me things that are relevant. I have one student who's trying to do wheelchairs, wheelchair improvements. Okay, show me wheelchair pictures. But guess what? It's not the wheelchair that he plans to improve. So, points off on that. So, if you want to give me related pictures so that we know we have the same common grounds in your introduction, we know which company you're trying to work for, the overview, what your goal is for the month, and the product picture or whatever it is that you want to show us. So pick 2 meaningful pictures. Don't just go to the company site and dump me 2 screenshots. That's not going to help me understand what you're trying to read or what you're trying to do. You have to give me a process flow chart, and we'll talk more about what type of charts I expect after this. It has to be about full page, with 2/3 page of visualization at the bottom or at the top, however way you want to orient it. Written analysis for the visualization. It must have at least 20 entities, 20 solid entities. Okay. What I don't want is I have students who give me a very sparse diagram, with 2 or 3 boxes that are totally meaningless, huge fonts, enlarge it, and it takes up an entire page. Okay. Obviously a space killer. We don't want that. I have students who give me pictures that are so small you can't read it. You can't even read it on the screen. You have to zoom, 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 and then zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. Yeah, I live with that on the screen. But when you try to print it, you can't print it. So I don't like that either because it's not useful. I have students who give me pictures that are so colorful but very light. They don't print. And I do print your documentation if I find a necessity. So make sure your production is well. You probably want to number your graphs, and if you number it, remember that you're numbering it for the entire month. So if you're doing introduction, maybe you want to do it, section 1.1, and then your figure would be 1.1, 1.2, table 1. Just like the book. So that way you can continue more conveniently down the month. I don't want orphan pages. I have students who submit like a draft mode, and the picture is only 2/3 of the page, very awkward, and the next text block or the next picture is another one. So what we ended up with, every page have a little fragment of a picture and then blank spaces. We don't want that either. I have students who sent me text overlay pictures, and they all become very distorted. At master levels, you should have control over your word processing skills. So make sure it's something presentable, final products. The second section I want you to do, minimal 1 page, because it's an old process. You want to do a competing process analysis for your working company. So you want to say, okay, I'm doing Publix. I'm looking at their night operation on stocking. I think I can improve the process. When I improve the process, I save money, I cut down time. Okay, you never common sense. You never want to recommend a process that would cost more money and that will cost more time. The goal is to streamline time and cut down costs. So keep that in mind. So let's say if you say I'm doing Publix, I'm improving their night operations, and what are its competitors doing? Are you just in your nutshell and you're not looking at the competitor's model? I don't want you to get an overkill on the competitor's model, so it's just a page. So you want to give me a brief synopsis of what the competitors are doing. So you don't want to propose a model that's obsolete before it's even done. Okay? So you want to see what other people are doing for their night operation. One page of that, so it's more like business process marketing analysis. Section 3, I want you to write a section called Proposed Business Model. Okay, that is, in introduction, you tell us what the current model is. You tell us what are the pitfalls, what are the shortcomings, what you plan to do for the month. And in section 3, your proposed business model, you want to give us a synopsis of how do you plan to improve that. In section 1, introduction, we know what the current process is. In 2, we know what the competitors are doing, sort of in a brief description. And in 3, you tell me what you plan to do. You have 3 more weeks to fully develop this, so your proposed business model is top scale, okay, top level. And what I want in it, for grading purpose, again, I want a process flow analysis to show your new model. So if you look at this, 1B in introduction gives me the current process. Okay, 3A gives me the new process. And of course, the new process must be intuitively better than the old process. Now, I have students who give me two process flowchart that are almost identical, with maybe just a small section. I don't want that. Okay, I don't want you to give me an existing process and you're just saying I'm just gonna make the shifts, okay, from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. You can't go to a meeting and propose a proposal that's so trivial. Okay, so therefore it's impossible for you to create an existing model, draw it out, and give me a new model that are almost identical. Then that means you haven't proposed much new. So make sure your 2 different pictures are dramatically different. You want to give us an overview of what the cost analysis is. How much is your proposal going to cost us? There's really no point if it's going to go forward if it's going to cost us $2 million. Okay, so in real life, generally you probably want to say how much it costs now, and based on your new model, it's going to cost less. Okay, so this is a time where you want to go out and do your research and see what's out there and what are the process cost reduction methods. It also helps if you know a certain process. Let's say if you work for a restaurant chain and you know a certain operation, it's very trivial. The smaller your problem domain, the easier it is for you to work on. So don't pick a huge product. You can even actually say I'm improving the product of the process of overnight shipping. Okay, certain restaurants they get their deliveries at night. Well, actually, most restaurants do, and they get it at different nights. And the delivery transportation, they have to map out their models very carefully so they minimize their traveling span. Okay, so efficiency in delivery is very important. Certain food items need more preparation time. Um, so if you have a weekend coming up, you probably don't in a fancy restaurant. You probably don't want to have your shipment of lobster Friday night, okay? Because it takes time to process them. Likewise, you don't want to do them Monday because by the weekend comes, the lobsters are very skinny. So, very trivial things. You want to look at the detailed process of a very small operation and say, how can you improve it to make it more efficient? And how can you reduce costs? So cost analysis and modeling design and business proposals are very important, and you should get used to it. The last page, about let's say 1/2 page every month, every week rather, and so that will give you 2 pages by the end of the month. You clean it up, and that will give us a very good reference. Hopefully your references are very relevant and not just blogs and websites. Okay, I have students who just give me blogs and websites. I mean, we want something academic. So use the library, look at what competitors are doing, see what, if you're fine-tuning restaurant operations, retail operations, banking operations, human resource operations, transportations, I don't know what it is that you're trying to do. Make sure you see what other people are out there and what they're doing, okay? And you're not going to get much by visiting the company websites. So you probably want to use the libraries, search the keywords, search the industries. The more details you are before you sit down and write and draw your flowchart. Drawing the flowchart isn't a big deal. It's what you plan to draw that kills people. So what they end up is that they didn't do their research enough. They don't know enough about the company. They don't know the operation, and they don't know what to draw because they don't know what they're doing. I have one student who picked a photography project, and it's it's oversimplistic. Customer walk in, customer puts in the order, and customer walks out. Okay, this is not a design document. Okay, I don't know what it is, but it's definitely not process analysis. So eventually in week 3, the student unfortunately admits he doesn't know anything about photography, and he hasn't really learned it, and he doesn't know how to improve the process. Needless to say, that's not going to do anybody any good at that point. And the question says, then why do you pick it? Well, gee, my goodness, a win. So please, 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 in week 1, think about your projects. Hopefully it's your capstone, something that you have been, impassioned about, something that you have data, something you know about. It's a work environment. If you don't want to reveal it, give it a fictitious name. I don't really care. Perturb your data, give me fictitious data. For the purpose of this exercise, I just want you to show me that you have applied the book knowledge and that you can go through the momentum. I know that once you learn the skill, you can go out, and when real situation and real numbers come in, you know what to do. So this is your week 1 assignments. It's very significant, so please do not wait until Sunday to do your work. Okay, late assignments is generally not accepted because we keep on going and it doesn't really work. But should you find that you must be late, you still have to submit something because you have a whole week. So if you have an emergency on a weekend, you cannot say you have nothing to submit. Okay, so if you have a Sunday night crisis, still submit what you have. Look at what you have. explain your situation, explain your lost time, and when you do your resubmission, I'll look at, what you've made up. So if somebody comes to me Sunday night, which I may or may not be there to answer the email, and say, well, gee, I can't submit anything, well, a late penalty will be imposed on a zero submission. And that's 10 points per day at my discretion. But if you say, well, I truly have an emergency, I have to go to the hospital, something happens, my car broke down, work called me in, I've done, a draft, 5 pages draft, but I still want to fine tune my graph. I lost about 5 hours or a day. So submit what you have, and a day later, submit, the rest of it. I'll look at the difference of the two and see, if it's really one day, and then, maybe I'll take less points off on the late penalty or whatever the situation is. Computer problems and things like that, those will not excuse your submission. So adhere to the deadline. I'm not trying to be mean. It's very significant. So if you drop off 1 week, it's very, very difficult to catch up. So needless to say, references, citations, APA. So you're probably a pro at it by now. Okay. People always ask me, what should I do? And we really, really hate to tell students what to do. Okay. Chances are, if you look at any of these keywords, and there are doctrines in the fields, although it's an obscure field, but it's a whole new world. Chances are, if you search the keywords, you'll see all the relevant pictures and images and videos associated with that keyword. And if you want to see event-driven simulations, there's no end to it. So therefore, there are, if you want to do a cost analysis, there are tons and tons of images. So if you want to get an idea of what type of graphs you should do, what type of visualization you should do, just go search on the web. It's not going to look exactly what you're going to do. Yours will be unique, so do not copy them. But just to give you an idea, here are some of the examples of the process flow diagram that you would typically see on the web. This is, these are 5 different ones. So don't do all 5. Okay. The first one on the top is the most typical. Very plain, black and white, gray, blue, what have you. And then they get fancier and fancier, more and more complex. They generally take about a page, landscaped. In your case, you don't want to just throw me a picture without explanation analysis. So you want to give me your analysis. If it's a decision tree, I want to see the probability calculation on the different utility functions. If it's a cost analysis, I want to see a breakdown of the spreadsheet. You have to explain it. I have students who just prompt me a picture out of nowhere and say, go figure. I have students who just write me a big marketing analysis without all the required process modeling graphs. That's a failing paper no matter how good it is. I have students who write me analysis that doesn't really pertain to what they're doing. So these do not copy these, do not plagiarize, but these give you an idea of the caliber that I'm looking for. The fancier it is, the more complicated it is, the better the grade. If you give me the bare minimal, black and white, count the entities, you get a B. Now, if you give me something very fancy with lots of analysis, you get a C. You get an A, I'm sorry. So no pictures, it's a C. Very easy. Cost analysis, and these are some typical cost analysis. These are very simple ones. You will have just bars and charts. Notice that in these cases you have the writings. You have the data. So this, when I say a page 4, I'm looking at a page 4 or something like that. Okay, I prefer the picture hugging the explanation. It's easier to read in a short paper. I have students who put all the writings on the top, and then at the end of the document, all the pictures. So you have to kind of figure, where things fall. So your explanation preferably must hug your pictures, almost like these. Cost analysis is, make up your data. How much it's going to cost? Since this is a proposal, we don't have any historical data anyways. So that's a good thing about modeling. But be realistic. Be realistic. More on sample cost analysis. On the upper left, it's just a spreadsheet, the basic pro forma of the different quarters. Not too exciting. You do that, and you get a B. Okay. You do the upper left, with the pictures analysis, you get an A. Okay. If you do a statement like, that's good too. Content matters. You could give me very beautiful pictures and it's wrong inside. I will still take points off. So the pictures have to be beautiful, but they also have to be correct. So correctness is very important. So make sure things add up. So you have to go to Excel, okay? Do your quarterly statements or your 5-year plan and say how much is it going to cost or how much it's going to save. Cost analysis, sometimes people say how much it's going to cost, and then some people do a cost saving analysis, asset liability. If we do this, we increase our assets. I don't know what it is that you're trying to propose. So the cost analysis is not necessarily an expense report. Okay, it comes in all different shapes and sizes. So to finalize strategy for success, to get good grades, you want to make sure you address all issues and all questions down to gory detail, apply textbook knowledge. Some students, when they start writing, they totally forgot that this is a process modeling analysis class. You present a model, you analyze it. You analyze means you take your business intelligence analytical process skills. You take your data analysis skills, and you give us reasons nicely through algorithms and analysis of mathematical terms, Bayes, Monte Carlos, that type of goodies. Those are very good. At a minimum, give us some mathematical spreadsheet financial reasoning to why you're doing this. Why are we buying your models? Why should we allow you to go ahead with this project? And this is just a simple overview of this week's expectations. Please do read the individual assignments. There are a lot more details in them, so make sure you fulfill all issues. If I ask for a chart, give me a chart. Don't give me the wrong chart. Do not give me charts that are very similar, even if they have the same terms. So if a cost analysis for human resource should be very different than a cost analysis for your business operation. Okay, so I have students who just take 1 week's work and then dump it for next week, and they look identical. Okay, pie charts and bar graphs and line charts, those are B level. Okay, scatter plot, fish diagram, geographical maps, if you're doing regional distributions. The fancier your analysis, dashboard design, key performance indicator design, those are good. Okay, so if you just give me simple flow and simple analysis, pies and bars, and we know it only takes about 5 minutes to do a line graph on 2 tables. So complexity matters. If a student does advanced graphs, advanced analysis with Bayes theorems and things like that, and another student just give me, pies and bars and lines every week, it's obviously one is an A and one is a C. Large-scale modeling flowcharts and analytical, at least one per page, like the samples I have shown you. Don't give me a very small picture and enlarge it to a whole big page. No white spaces. They have to hug. They have to look professional. Provide lots of supporting information, citations, documentations, readings, blah blah blah, what have you. Make sure you use the models in the textbook. Say that you're doing an event-driven, you're doing this, or you're doing that. Okay, don't just draw meaningless flowcharts, almost like creative drawing. No, this is not creative drawing. You want to draw, say, a discrete event, a continuous event. You want to read up on those, you want to see research on those and see what other people are doing and apply it to your working company. So this is not a creative visual diagram course. This is taking what's in the textbook, look at their examples, and apply it to the working company and draw similar diagrams. The diagrams in the book, they're black and white and they're very small. That's because it's trying to show an example. It's not trying to do a project. And it's, the printing cost is black and white and small. Yours are going to be more complicated and it's going to be in color. Okay, but make sure it's printable color. So don't give me a light, pale pastel color that doesn't print in black and white, or it doesn't print or read well. Don't give me black dark background, because those are toner killers and they don't really read very well, even white on black. Use advanced BIA analysis visualization. Pies and charts are not good. The more advanced, the better. Write in third-person object tone in formal business writings. That's technical report, business plan, financial statements, whichever one, modeling, design documents. There are tons of templates you could probably even find in Microsoft Word or whatever word processing you're using, and there are lots and lots of templates out there. They're not very difficult to formulate. Do not use I, we, he, she. Do not make it a personal journal diary-like writing. No introversions, strictly technical. It has to be printable, it has to be publishable, it has to be something that we can distribute in a technical meeting. And finally, make sure you fulfill assignment and discussion rubrics. And this pretty much concludes this lecture. Thank you for attending, and please get started with the assignments as quickly as you can and as early as you can. Please do not wait until the end of the week. Go through the assignments, read all the instructions, and enjoy the week. And I look forward to see your output for the week. Goodbye.